Okay, this is weird. Oh, I just needed it to be, I just needed it to wait for a minute. I don't know why it's being like this. Okay, so now it's working. It took me a long time to get it to work. I apologize. But it just needed a bit of time, it looks like. Okay, so I noticed that comments on Restream only shows YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to pull up Instagram and Facebook separately to see if it works. And then also TikTok on its own device as well. So yeah, just give me a minute while I set those up so I can see the comments. It's kind of sucks though that it doesn't show up all of them, all the comments on Restream. I was really looking forward to that feature, but I guess it wasn't meant for everything. So let me just take a minute here and pull me up on TikTok using my second account. So I won't see everything, but at least we can get it started. And then here we go. I am on TikTok watching through a second account. So I hope this is going to work. Well, hello. Welcome, welcome. So my name's Charity Lowe. I am a commission portrait artist on the side. And I work for the Vinci Eye App, which is the app that I'm currently using. I make advertisements and tutorials, and I even teach live every Friday on their YouTube channel. These live videos are the behind the scenes of me working for the app. So you'll see me pull out my phone to do some filming here and there during this live. And yeah, with my work, I've done multiple different things, and you'll get to see multiple different things. I've done wood burning, stained glass painting. I've done quilling. I've done soft pastel, watercolor, acrylic, pen, and so on and so forth, even like window paintings as well. But yeah, so if you stick around and follow me and stuff like that, you'll see a whole bunch of different arts and crafts, not just portrait work. Right now I'm doing a special video for Puppy Day, which will be in, just give me a minute while I look this up. I do things early so I can get them done. Posted just on time, and this is going to be posted right on Puppies Day, and that would be March 23rd, that Puppy Day. So that's what this is. So let's get going. I'm going to just show you the different cameras here that I have. This is what I see through my phone / TV. I have it also, I also have it streaming to my TV above my head, so it's easier to see. And then there's the overview where you see my camera and my drawing. And then the side view where it's just the drawing. Here, I'll just quickly show you some stuff here. So it's connected to the anchor. The anchor is that black and white card on the top here. And when you're using the augmented reality mode, what it'll do is that the anchor will adjust the angle of the image, and it'll also lock things in place. So if you accidentally move your phone or tablet or drawing surface, it will stay aligned as long as the anchor is taped down with your drawing surface. So you can have your phone tilted or tablet tilted or even your drawing desk tilted. It will not distort the image with the tilt. Some features that I like is strobe. I turn up the strobe, the opacity to its fullest. This way I can see my drawing in comparison to the reference photo and make changes as I see them. So this helps with getting nice photorealistic art. For black and white drawings or watercolors, I like to use breakdown. It works really good with black and white. So you can choose if it's going to be cut out or not. Cut out means it's going to be like one section at a time of different shades. So you'll only do black once, you'll do a dark gray the next. And then cut out off is going to give you just layers of shading. So you do the lightest layer and then you add on top of what you've done the darker layers as soon as you go all the way through them. So I'll just show you. So the first layer, you're going to shade in really lightly. The second layer, just a little bit darker, and then a little bit darker, and then black at the very end. So these are really good for black and white drawings and watercolor because you can build up the watercolor slowly. So you can also record your drawing as a time-lapse video. There's some cool filters that you can use to kind of just make your artwork a little bit more interesting. Like you can even do reverse painting, which is super cool. You just paint the colors that you see, and then when you put invert or inverted colors, then it'll pop up like the original image would pop up as. So there's like a bunch of cool little things here that you can test out for drawing. So yeah. Torch was good for if you don't have any good lighting. Grid, if you're using classic mode, it will actually help you square off and your drawing so that it doesn't warp. So you just move your camera until all the angles are lined up square, and then you can use it to draw. Or you can just use a leveling app if you're using classic mode. I already showed you strobe. AR is just both fixing the camera if it's blurry and also making new anchors if you need to make new anchors. You can make your own anchors by scribbling on a piece of paper with permanent marker, and then it'll take you through some steps while making it. So yeah, we can get started on the drawing. So, first thing I need to do, well, I'm going to go into the section that I'm working on now, which is on the nose here now. I'm going to place my pencil down so that I can just see the tip of the pencil. So I can trace in around the colored areas so I know where the placement is for shading. But before I start actually drawing, I am going to film a little bit of this because that's how I get paid for my work. So just give me a minute while I figure out where I'm going to place my phone. So you'll see my phone pop up on the screen here and there. I'm going to try to film every hour because these things take, these drawings take a while, so I don't need to do, I don't need to film every 5 minutes. If I were to do a quick sketch, then I'll be filming more often. I'm going to try to do those quick sketches off my lives because I kind of want to just get into some more detailed and complicated stuff here for my personal page. And I'm going to unplug my phone because I need it to look nice and clean. So I'm going to spend about 5 minutes filming. So I work for the app that I'm currently using. I make ads and tutorials, and I even teach live on their YouTube channel every Friday from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And I also take commissions. So if you're not an inspiring artist but would like me to draw something for you, I am more than happy to do that for you. I have price, like my art has different levels for pricing. Even if you had $0 in your account, I can do a commission portrait for you for free. But the catch is that I'll need to be able to make it into a class lesson. I won't be able to tell you exactly when it's going to be done, and I can't keep it a secret for like a gift or anything like that. It will be in live time. And then for other discounts, I can give you a 65% discount if you allow me to make it into a tutorial or an advertisement. I can postpone posting it for any special occasions for gifts and stuff. And I could also give you a better idea on when they're going to be done. And then for private stuff, all my prices are based off of the amount that I get for the Vinci Eye App, because all my commissions are cut out of the time that I work for them. So I need to be able to pay my bills. Otherwise, I just can't do it for you. I just can't. But yeah. So think about that if that's something that you are interested in having me do for you. I'm going to turn on the strobe here and turn up the opacity to its fullest. And this way I can see the differences, and I'm also going to kind of look at the reference photo that I printed off as well to give me some guidance and placement for colors. I have the reference photo printed off, and I also have made a color swatch of all the colors of the pencils that I have in this particular set. And I really recommend doing that to help you pick the colors that you need to use. And I've kept all the pencils that I've used so far on the side here so that I don't need to go searching for them too far. Yeah, I like to collect pencils for each project. And then I'm slowly going from light to dark. Why does it keep on going close to my face? Like, why is it just my face all the time? It's not, my face isn't that interesting. So just doing light pressure and circular motions, just filling in the areas where we see that particular color. Going from light to dark. This is just building up the undertones, the back layer of the fur, and then those darker colors are going to create the texture of the fur. So we're just trying to fill in the white spaces where it's not white. And then we can build up upon that. It is a very slow process, so just be patient with yourself. I want you to know the Mona Lisa was not made in a day or two. It was made in like 3 years. So we have come a long way in technology that will allow us to do things quicker, but it still takes time to do it. So just be patient with yourself. So just light pressure. We want to slowly build up because we want to be able to put as many layers as possible on it. If we do too dark right away, we won't be able to get all that fine detail in the fur later. So I'm using a lot of yellows and oranges and some light browns to create this nice golden brown fur. So I'll be on live for about 2 hours, and I'll be filming for the Vinci Eye app every hour. So if you're watching me, please comment so I know where you're at, because I'm streaming on multiple different services or multiple different platforms right now. I'm on my personal Facebook page under Charity Lowe's Art, Instagram, and YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. So I'd like to know where you guys are watching from. So now I'm starting to do some more textured work. So I'm doing very short strokes, picking up the pencil every single time to add those little hairs. And when working on fur, on animals, really look at the direction of where they're going. It helps create more of a realistic look to it, more natural and flowing. And you don't want to zigzag. You don't want to zigzag your pencils. You want to just do one stroke at a time. And it doesn't have to be in the perfect placement. As long as you got the direction going right, then it should look fine. Nobody's going to know all the little differences in the furs that are not exactly the same. Nobody's paying attention to that closely for it. And then just slowly building up to darker and darker shades. I'm going between looking at my printed reference and the Vinci Eye app to make sure I get it as close to the original as possible. Having both of them just kind of gives you a different way of looking at it, a different view. Why does it just keep showing my face all the time? I don't like that. I really don't. It drives me crazy. I really wish I could just prevent it from showing my face on the big screen. Don't need it to show my face on the big screen, just the little screen. We're just slowly adding one hair at a time, worrying about the direction and the curvature of the fur more than the placement, and also trying to work on the placement of the majority of where that color is and kind of building outwards a little bit. So we got a lot of like bright orange down here, and then it slowly branches out a little bit lesser and lesser as it goes away from it, if that makes any sense. You can start seeing it slowly come together in that section. There isn't a whole bunch of red. Let's try to sharpen the pencil here. Can you guys hear me all right? I just want to know. Super loud, I know. There's a few little dark red hairs right in here. I'm doing very small strokes. Very, very small individual strokes, picking up the pencil every single time I place it down. No going back and forth back and forth with one stroke. Just pick it up a little bit, like every time you put it down. Pick it up. Pick it up, put it down, stroke. A really small one. So you may not see the differences on the camera, but they are there. Okay, now I'm gonna go and use some brown in some areas, mostly around the eye here. I'm gonna move this over so I can see it on the screen. So what you don't see is the Vinci Eye App is actually streaming to the TV that's above my head. So I'm not always focusing on it, but it does help me get some things placed in the right spot. I might add a little bit of gray. A few little dots of gray. I feel like I need to add a little bit more orange, dark orange in some areas. I'm just going to do that real quick. And then we're going to move on to the other side of the face. It is pretty much done for the coloring. The next part that we're going to do after we get all the golden brown fur done is we're going to do the white part of the fur, which is going to be very interesting because white is, it's not pure white on any of it. It is off-white with certain colors in it. So there's like blues, purples, yellows, pinks, just various different shades of different colors of very light, almost white, but not perfectly white. Okay, I'm going to turn off the strobe for a minute. I'm going to take the lightest pencil the lightest color I can see in that general area. And then I'm going to turn down the opacity so that I can just barely see the tip of my pencil. And then do some circular motions for tracing just the outline of the face. Like just the outline of that patch of fur. This will all kind of just blend in later. But we want to do nice light circular motions. Build it up slowly from light to dark, from back to front. Okay, it is a pretty dark section on the face, so I'm just going to skip right to the color that I was just using to fill in the under, like the under fur, the lighter fur that you can see. So just light pressure and circular motions, just placing it right where you see those colors. And then you can kind of fade it out for like a little blending effect by doing even lighter pressure around that section. And then going into the next dark, like the next color that's a little bit darker than what you just had. And then the same thing, just light pressure and tight circular motions. And right where you see that color that you're using. And then we can do even a lighter pressure around it so that it kind of has more of a faded, blended effect later. We want to do it as light as possible so we can build up the layers. That makes it more realistic with every layer, especially when it comes to fur. I also kind of see like a pinkish tone too, so I'm going to grab that here too. I'm just going to grab that pink. I think I might do a dark skin tone. So there we go. And then we can go back and choose the next darkest color we have. Well, the next color that's a little bit darker than what we had previously. If you ever need to refer back to the colors to pick out the right ones in comparison to your reference photo, just go ahead and look at them just to make sure that they are the right colors. So light pressure and circular motions. Very tight circular motions. And you can do an even lighter outline of that shape. Don't go over the white areas of the dog though for doing that effect. You just want to do it in the colored sections. I'm going to turn the strobe back on. This way I can see the differences between my reference photo and the drawing so that I can make adjustments to make it more accurate. I don't really see a dark red anywhere, so I'm going to skip to brown. Most of the brown I see is just around the eyes. Again, light pressure and circular motions. Slowly build it up. Don't rush it. Now we can start building up the fur a little bit. We can start off with doing the darkest to the lightest. And as you can see, I have already organized my pencils pretty much from the darkest to the lightest. So we're gonna do individual short strokes, picking it up every single time you place down a stroke. No zigzagging, do not zigzag. Gotta pick it up every time. And we're slowly getting lighter and lighter for the pencils. Now, there's one thing I forgot to show you in the previous section that we just did. It's a little bit of a blending, it's a blending technique, but I use it this way for just the fur. I usually go around in circles to kind of give it as best blending as it possibly can, but as you know, colored pencils don't blend very well. So there are some tools out there that do help, one of which is a colorless pencil. Prismacolor has colorless pencils for this purpose. And then you could also use rubbing alcohol with a Q-tip. That kind of gives it more of a marker look, or you can look up to see what solutions work best for the type of pencil you have. Not all pencils are the same. There are oil-based pencils and there's wax-based pencils, and I'm sure there's other things too. So you really do need to study or do your own research on what pencils work well with what solutions to kind of break down the colors to spread it around a little bit. Anyways, I'm taking the colorless pencil and I'm just doing one stroke at a time, but I'm doing fairly large strokes this time because I want to kind of do this a little bit faster because I'm not patient. But we're picking up the pencil every time we make a stroke on the paper. So this kind of helps with vibrancy. It fills in those little white sections of the paper so that it looks more like a photo than it does a drawing, because all of it is just getting filled in with color. And we want to go in the direction of the fur because we don't want to lose that texture. We just want to fill in the gaps. That's all we're doing. You see how that just made it a little bit more vibrant? I'm not sure if you could see it because, yeah, I'm not really in control of the angle, but that just finishes it off a little bit. Okay, we're going back to the section we were just working on. Using that kind of dark orange, picking up the pencil after each stroke. Add a few little hairs within this white patch on his face so that we can create a little texture on it. Make it look like it's actually part of the dog, not just randomly floating over top of the face. So really focus on the direction of the fur. If you don't really see the details of the fur, you can either just kind of use the photo as like a guidance to do that if you want to have like a lot of detail everywhere, because that is a style, then you can just use some that reference as a guidance to do that. But if you want to do more photorealistic art, then you kind of do want to have those same blurry areas as what you see in the reference. So to kind of do more of a blurry line, just instead of going straight up and down, kind of do like circular motions to really blur out those little furs. Circular motions, but still going in the direction of the fur. Okay, going into the next color, which is lighter than the one we just had. I'm just still adding it slowly, one stroke at a time, picking up the pencil each time. Also, you want to be aware of how sharp your pencil is, because the finer the pencil, the more, you know, the more details you can put in. And it doesn't have to be the exact color for your drawings. Nobody's going to really know that the colors are off unless if you display your reference photo directly beside your drawing. But even then, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to worry about being completely exact. Like, let's just take a look. Well, I guess you guys can't see it right now. I'm going to add that skin tone. I see it a little bit above the eye. Kind of missed it earlier. And beside the eye. I'm just doing circular motions because I don't really see any individual hairs in these areas. But I do see that color, so I'm just building that up a little bit more. I think I might jump back to brown, because I think this has kind of got a little bit of brown right in here. And also right here too. So now I'm just kind of going to the colors that I think still needs to be added to certain areas. I'm not really going from light to dark and dark to light. I am just jumping around, adding small light, like very light layers at a time until I'm satisfied with the shade and the color of those sections. Okay, now we can blend this out, and I think we're done with the colored fur. So for the really blended, very blurred out areas, I'm going to do circular motions for those to make them more solid. a better blurred effect by doing that, just doing some circular motions. And then for the rest of it, I'm going to follow the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every single time I place it down. We don't want to lose the details that we put down. We just want to make sure we can fill in those white areas. Again, you can use rubbing alcohol with a Q-tip to kind of blend, or do some research with some what pencils work best with certain solutions, because they do sell solutions for different pencils. You just need to do a little bit of research. Or you can blend with white, which will kind of give it more of a like softer, more pastel look to it, or the brightest color of that section to kind of fill in the gaps. So there's lots of options. No option is better than the other. It depends on what you are looking for. Okay, let's start with the mouth and the nose area for the white fur. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the lightest color of the hand and trace just on the outside of the nose and mouth where the hand is. So I'm going to turn off the strobe for a moment, adjust the opacity so I can just see the tip of my pencil. And we're going to trace around the face right where the hand is. We're tracing just on the outside of the nose and mouth. And earlier we preserved all of these little whiskers by taking an empty pen and pressing into the paper. That technique only works if you are using thick paper like a Bristol board or thick mixed medium paper. So yeah, if you're drawing on printer paper, it's just not going to work. It's not. I think I might actually need to go in darker. So I'm going to choose a slightly darker pencil because I can't really see that much, but still very light pressure and circular motions. It is going to all blend in later to the rest of the hand. Just do light pressure and circular motions. So when you're preserving white lines with the method of indenting the paper, it just makes it hard to color inside those. Like, you really have to focus on getting right in there if you need to color them, but the purpose of it is just not needing to do that. Okay, we can turn the strobe back on, but I don't think really the app is going to be showing me all that I want to see. So I'm really focusing on the reference photo that I printed off instead. I'm going to pick out, we can actually put a lot of these colors back. I'm going to keep the really bright yellows, like the very soft yellows. I'm going to keep those. But we are getting rid of our dark pencils. We no longer need them. Okay, so we're gonna keep the skin tones. I think I just need the lightest skin tone here. And let's just kind of go through little sections at a time to see what kind of colors we're gonna need. So we need the light cream and ivory. It looks like some gray, but it's very light. I wish I had a lighter gray than this. I could make my own palette by choosing colors that I wish I had. Because some art companies will actually sell individual pencils, which are super awesome, especially when you want to do your own, like do a certain type of color palette and stuff. So I'm debating on whether or not I need to do that kind of this color for here or this one or that one. And I think I'm going to use this one right here. It's kind of more of an earthy color, but I'm going to have to be very light-handed with that. Very, very light-handed. Then the blue, there's a little bit of blue in here too. And I think I kind of already got the right one for this. So it's that one. We got the yellow. I think we do need a pink. But what kind of pink? I think we do need this one. I'm also looking at the nails too. Just picking out my colors. And we still do need a brown, but what kind of brown do we need? All my browns are very similar. Okay, so believe it or not, all these colors of the pencils that you guys cannot see on the screen are within the white of the drawing. So let's build them up. We kind of already did a few details here on the nose. I'm going to use that really bright, very pastel yellow. Do very, very light pressure. Circular motions, nice and tight circular motions and light pressure. Holding the pencil further back actually helps with controlling your pressure on the paper. This is very, very light-handed work. And then there's some yellow on the bottom lip. So again, just very light pressure. And we can always build it up if needed. But I don't think we're going to really need it. I just noticed that I need to add a little bit more detail of the orange right in here. So I'm just going to quickly add that. This is a small thing, but I'm going to be bothered by it if I don't get that texture in there. So now let's go in with that really light blue, very light-handed. You just want to do some really soft pressure and circular motions. If you need a little bit more help with keeping the pressure nice and soft, hold the pencil further back and use the side of the pencil. I know you can't really see the difference. It is very, very faint. Then where else is the blue? There's a little bit of blue right on this little white spot on the upper lip. So again, light pressure and circular motions. Working with white on fur or black on fur is very difficult to do. Probably one of the most difficult things about pets is just the black fur and the dark and the white fur, trying to get some depth into those colors. Now we're going to go in with that purple. And it's just a little bit right where that brown spot is. Again, light pressure and circular motions. And then we're going to go even lighter just around that area. We're just adding it right where we see it. You know, the more you draw, the more you'll actually see all the little differences in the shades and colors, hues. You'll be able to see them the more you do this. Okay, I think there's still like, well, I think it's more of a skin tone at this point. Oh, and thanks for the hearts. I don't know who did that. Ooh, I jumped up one. Thank you for the hearts. I really do appreciate it. I'm not really focused on my lives themselves, but I will try to look over every so often to see the comments. And there's like 4 different places to look. So it's a lot. Okay, we're going to do some tight circular motions using light pressure. I think I might go over the entire thing with a white pencil, even though you're not going to really see it that much. Like, you'll mostly see it if when the light hits your paper in a certain way, then you'll see it, but you won't be able to see it on the screen. I'm just filling in the whole area with white. So again, this is something that you won't see unless if the light hits your paper at a certain angle, and then you'll actually see this. So now I'm gonna go in with some very light brown, just to add a few hairs. I think we already kind of did this earlier, but I'm just going to reinforce them a bit, if that makes any sense. I don't know why I use that word. I really don't. I'm using the printed reference as my guide at this point. I think that's as good as it's going to get for the nose and mouth area. Now we can work on the paw. There is a little bit more to the paw than there is to that nose. First, I'm going to erase some of that graphite that we did with the beginning of this drawing, because I don't want the graphite to kind of poke through. I'm going to try to avoid that. And with the same idea as last time, we're going to trace around the paw, right where the hand is, using a skin tone, a light color that's very similar to what we're doing. I turned off the strobe. I'm going to turn down the opacity until I just see the tip of my pencil. Okay. And just on the outside, we're going to do some circular motions and light pressure, just so we can get the placement right. And I might as well just go all the way around. Since I'm here anyways, I might as well. I need to erase that graphite though. And then I'm going to turn the strobe back on. Actually, no, I'll keep it off. We're going to use a skin tone for the nails. And this is actually very blurry. So we don't need to do like straight lines or anything like that. We're just going to do some really tight circular motions where we see these colors pop up. So there's a bit of skin tone just right at the root of the nails. So we're going to add that. Just very light pressure. We can add more color later if needed. And then there's a yellow, very, very faint yellow on the tip of the nails. So very light pressure and circular motions for those sections. And then it's almost like a blue-gray. I think I'm going to start off with a blue. Thank you so much. Somebody commented some emojis on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok at the moment. So some light pressure and circular motions, because this is very blurred. We're not doing any lines, no texture of the fur or anything. We're just adding a little bit. You can barely see it if you look at it from the camera, but if you're looking at it up person, you can also just barely see it. But it is there. So let's go in with a bit of gray. We want to be very light-handed with this gray because this is a dark gray. So light pressure and circular motions. Like almost not even touching the paper. Then what else do we see? We see a brown. So we're going to add that. It's right in the shadows. This is actually possibly like the shadow on the hand. So very light pressure. We're going to build it up slowly. We're just trying to get the placements down right. So light pressure and circular motions. Okay. Now I'm going to focus more, I'm going to turn up the opacity on this and turn it on strobe, but I'm actually focusing more on the printed reference than I am actually on the Vinci Eye App. So what I see mostly of is a very pale yellow. I'm going to add that all over the areas that I see that yellow. It is very faint, and it's very hard to be able to get depth with white fur and black fur. You just got to see all that tiny little differences in the colors. It's really the color of the light more than the color of the fur or the color of the shade. And then there's kind of like a purple tone too, but we want to be super light-handed with this because this is quite dark. Barely, just barely touching the paper. Like you can't even really feel that you're touching the paper. If you're having a hard time with keeping a consistent soft pressure, then just hold your pencil further back and use the side of your pencil. It's really hard to get it to your hand to be heavy. And this is kind of helping to sculpt out the chin and mouth area of the dog as well, adding these slight colors, very slight, subtle changes. So I actually drew a white cat once, and I was able to get it so it actually looked real. And it's a very difficult skill. Okay, so we did yellow, did purple. I think we need to possibly see if there's any blue, which there kind of is on the lower part. Not a whole bunch. So very light pressure. If you are having a hard time having light pressure with your hand, just hold the pencil further back and try to draw from the side. And this is all pretty blurry, so we don't need to try to have any sharp edges or anything, so that's why I'm doing the circular motions. And then going in with some of the tan. Again, just really soft with that pressure. And then we can go in with the light brown too. Just slowly building it up. Okay, I think the only thing that would really make this look good is just focusing on like the nails and the outside of the paw. Like I know you can barely see it. It looks like I'm doing nothing. I know all about it. I'm just gonna compare the colors here real quick to see if I'm getting the right shade. I need this one. So I'm adding a little bit more pressure where there is where it's a little bit darker. And I'm holding it closer to the tip because I want to have a little bit more control over the placement. And I'm going to use that very bright, soft pastel. Not bright, but soft. And we're going to fill in the nails with a little bit more pressure. And a little bit of brown. This is a very slow process. I'm going to do the brown and then we're going to do gray. Still kind of doing circular motions because it is blurred. And then we can also go even lighter just around those sections so that kind of has like a blended look at the end. I'm going to add even a darker brown over this in some of the areas. Again, we're just doing circular motions. I'm not pushing a whole bunch, I'm not putting a whole bunch of pressure on it right now, because I just want to make sure I get everything in the right placement, the right shade, before I jump right into it. I think I might go around it with a dark skin tone around the nails so that I can really get those to pop out a little bit more. And I'm just drawing right over where the hand is. This gives me a better idea on what it will look like once that hand's done later. Now we can kind of see the paw popping up a little bit, but we also, by making a little bit of color right here on the paw, we were able to kind of pop up the chin a little bit too to make that look like it's separate from the rest of it. But we still can add a little bit more. So I'm going to add that skin tone all the way, all over the place here, right where I kind of see it popping up, using the side of my pencil and some circular motions. And again, this is a very slow layer by layer build up, because we don't want to get it too vivid in colors, otherwise it just doesn't look like white anymore. But we want it enough to give it some depth to it. So to make it a nice soft blend, you can go a little bit harder, like harder pressure on the inside, and then just slowly get it lighter as it goes outward. Gives it a nice blurred and blended, smooth transition. Okay, that has been an hour, so I have to stop for a second to set up another camera to get some footage done for my work. And I'll tell you all about that during my work. I need to drink more water. I'm very dehydrated all the time. Okay. Okay, so I have to spend every so often some time filming the process here and there because I work for the app that I'm currently using in making tutorials and advertisements for them. So every so often you'll see my phone camera just like popping into frame here and there throughout the process. So I also teach live on their YouTube channel every Friday from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and it's drawings throughout many sessions from beginning to end. I don't just do portraits for the videos that I make, both the live videos and tutorials and such on and so forth. Jen, you're not quite yet, honey. I know. I know you want mommy, but mommy's filming and I don't want you on camera. What do you need? A drink? Yeah. Then go ask Uncle Richard for a drink. Anyways, I do a whole bunch of different things for the app, for their videos and stuff. I do wood burning, stained glass painting, fabric painting, quilling. I've used soft pastels, watercolor, acrylics, pens. I've done window paintings, decorating cookies, murals. So you'll see some of those in these live videos here on my personal accounts. And then also, I will do commissions for you if I do portrait work with pencils, so graphite or colored pencils. And I will do people portraits or pet portraits, and I have prices varying from zero budget prices to I need things private and full price prices. So if I'm allowed to use the footage, or if I'm allowed to make it into a class, lessons for classes, I can give it to you for free. If I can make it into an advertisement or tutorial, I'll give you 65% off. And then all the private stuff, all my prices are based off of how much I get through the Vinci Eye App, because all of my commissions will cut into the time that I have for my day job. So I need it to be able to pay my bills. So essentially, if I can make it into a lesson or an ad or a tutorial, the Vinci Eye App will pay me for most of it to make and stuff. So that's why I'm giving you heavy discounts if that's something you're interested in. Also, I've been thinking about doing giveaways for a lot of my crafts and the drawings that I do for the app. No particular reason for customers or anything. So like I have a bunch of quilling projects, some wood burning projects. I got stained glass effect shot glasses that I've made. Jenya, I can't have you in here right now. And I don't have no place or use for a lot of this stuff, and I think it would be much more appreciated by somebody who like want to draw or something like that. Yeah, I know I'm your mom, but I can't. What? Did you lose something? Did you lose a bead? You want me to help you? Yeah. Is that better? So yeah, I kind of want to do giveaways every so often. So like for every milestone of how many viewers I get, I'll do like a post somewhere and have you guys comment on the post and then do a random draw. But anyways, I am done doing this for the filming for now, but I am still live. I'm still going live for a little longer. It's so pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna be on for like another hour before I hop off. So we're just slowly building up the shades, the different different colors on the white to create some depth. Very light pressure. And there is my husband talking to me on Facebook. Okay. So as we're building up these different shades, these different colors on the white, we're just doing very small circular motions with light pressure, slowly building it up. Like, I don't know if you can see this, but you can kind of see the separation between the neck and the paw. Can you see that? Is it noticeable? I don't know. Okay. And then also you might be able to see, I'm not 100% sure if you can see this, but the indented parts to preserve the whiskers are doing pretty good. It's not a perfect system. What, honey? What? I'm gonna have to go check up on her. Just give me a minute. What does she want? An octopus?
Yeah.
What about an octopus? You fix it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know when I'll get to fixing it. Did Daddy make a mess of it?
No.
It's got a tear on the seat.
Yeah, it's got some interesting stuff going on there. Okay, yeah, Dad accidentally ripped it. Okay. I gotta get back to the live. The octopus is broken. Actually, I think it's a squid. I don't think it's an octopus. I believe this is a squid. But, yeah, my husband broke one by accident. Okay. So I think the majority of it is kind of more of like a yellow tone to it. So I'm just going to fill in that entire area with some of the yellow. You won't be able to really see all of this until like the light hits it in a certain way. You might be able to see it in person. Okay, I'm gonna need to sneeze. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Whew. There is a darker skin tone right here. Stickers? Yeah. Do you want stickers? So just keep on building up little by little the layers. So there's a bluish gray on the arm. We're going to start off with the blue. Again, just very light pressure and circular motions. Now I'm going to add that little bit of gray to it as well. Maybe I'll add a bit of purple or pink on top of that too. Just light pressure and circular motions. This is a really dark gray, so I have to be very careful with it. So holding it at the end of the pencil, like at the end of the pencil instead of the tip of the pencil, is going to help you control that pressure a little bit better. And then we can do even lighter pressure as we go away from that shadowy area to create the effect of a blended or blurred section. And I'm going to go in with the skin tone because it is kind of got a warm tone to it too as well, which is kind of interesting. Just again, we're just slowly building it up. I don't want to add too much to it because we still want it to make it look like it's white, that it's a white dog. Okay, we're gonna erase some of that graphite from earlier just so that it doesn't poke through while we're drawing over top of it. And again, we're kind of gonna go with the lightest color we see around the dog. I think it's a light skin tone for the most part. I'm gonna turn off the strobe and decrease the opacity until I just see the tip of my pencil. And then I'm going to trace around the outer side of the dog. Just outside the dog. Doing light pressure and circular motions. This will help us with the placement of everything. I think I'm still going to go a little bit darker because I can't quite see it. And again, this will all just kind of blend in later. You won't be able to see this change, like this little line, very soft line when I'm done. It'll just blend right into the rest of it. So now that we got that, we can take a look and see where we need to add some color and what color we need. We are going to be needing a pale yellow. We're almost done with the dog, and then we can do the hands. Oh, there's another part of the dog that I kind of forgot about until I moved my hand off of the reference photo. So we need to work on that too. So very light pressure and circular motions. Pretty windy outside. Maybe one of the reasons why I was having a hard time waking up this morning. Again, I know you can barely see this on screen. I can barely see it in person. Then we're going to add a very light layer of blue in those areas that we kind of see the blue too. And if you want to be able to control the pressure a little bit better, if you're a little heavy-handed, hold the pencil further back. And use the side of the pencil, not the tip. That helps prevent any like obvious pencil strokes, making a nice smooth finish once you blend it out. Okay, there is still a pretty dark shadow. It looks really gray right here. Just light pressure and circular motions. I'm trying to get the side of the pencil because we want to have it nice and smooth when we're done. And I'm going to be doing a blue stripe across, just a circular, like a very tight circular motions, almost like a line, but it's very soft. And then a yellow one above that. maybe a little bit of skin tone in that gray area too. I don't really think that it needs to be blended out with the colorless pencil, but I am going to go over the whole thing with a white. You won't be able to really notice it until the light hits it in a certain way. You'll be able to see it. So you don't really need to do this step. You might need to do it if you're using a paper that is not pure white or of a different color. And the white will really help with this. But when you're doing white on white, it's very difficult to see. I might do a little bit of blending. I'm going to use a colorless pencil. I've changed my mind. Make sure the colorless pencil's clean. It doesn't have any residue from previous blending. And we're going to do some circular motions. I'm only going to really do the darker areas. I'm not going to do the whole thing. So I'm putting quite a bit of pressure at this point, not to the point where I feel like I'm gouging into the paper. And I'm not going to bother doing every single section doing this, just the darker areas. And I think I might even do that with the paw too, just blending in the darker areas. There we go. Can you see? Let me just take a look. Can you see that? Just taking away my phone for a minute. I don't know if you can really see that. Bring the phone back, it just automatically realigns. I think I'm going to do this little section right over here that's still white as well. And then I think once we get that done, we can start working on the hands and the background. Where is my need eraser? I need the eraser. There we go. Just pick up that graphite that we put down when we first started so that it doesn't poke through. And then with a skin tone, we're going to do very soft circular motions around that area, and it's very blurred. So you can't really tell where the dog begins and where the background begins. So just, it's okay. Everything's fine. And then we're also going to trace out the shape of the fingers too. There are some other details on the dog that we're not going to worry about until the very last. And that is some of the whiskers. There's some pretty dark whiskers on the dog. Now that we got that down, I'm gonna use a very soft pastel yellow all over it because that's what I see, is a very soft pastel yellow. All over that section. It's in a darker area, so that makes sense that there's a little bit more color than it was on the other side. And then we're also going to add some skin tone to it. Again, we don't really know where the dog ends and where the background begins. So this could be very loose. Very, very loose. We just know that there is a very light section. I think we're going to add slightly some blue on the lower part of it. Maybe a little bit of purple too. Light pressure, circular motions, and you're going to try to use the side of the pencil to create a nice smooth texture. I'm going back in with that yellow, and then I'll go over it again with some cream colored, or like some skin tone. And then I'm going to take that colorless pencil. I'm just going to blend in the darkest areas. Putting in quite a bit of pressure, but not to the point where I'm denting the paper. You don't want to dent the paper. Okay. Now we can move on to the background and the fingers. So I'm going to just start off. I'm going to turn on the strobe again. I'm going to start off with one corner, working my way to the other corner. Taking a look at the colors that I have, especially for the background. It's very beige. It's a very beige color. I don't think, what's going on here? My husband scared me. Caused me to jump a little. So I think we're not going to try to get it exact colors or anything. I think we're just using the skin tone for this. It's very loose. Got it darker on the bottom and lighter at the top. So to create that, well, first let's just fill it all in with this beige with a very light pressure. I'm going to do it this way. Trying to have it consistent pressure for now. All the way through this, and make sure you try to fill it in really good. So some tighter circles would be good for this. And I think the background and the hands will help tie this all together, make it, make the dog look like, especially the white areas, make that dog pop out a little bit more. Now you don't have to do the exact same background as you see in your reference photo. You can have fun with it. Do some different shapes with some bright colors. It's all up to you. You don't have to follow any strict rules. Not even with like just tracing in general. You can just use tracing as like your base and then just totally switch up the style. Tracing isn't just for photorealistic or hyperrealistic art. can be used for many different things. Some people use tracing for taking that perfect sketch in their sketchbook and turn it into a finished piece. Some people use it to learn. Some people use it to speed up their drawing process. I use it to speed up my drawing process. Okay, we still need to make it darker, but that's a start. It's a start. Okay. I'm gonna make it darker by adding a little bit more pressure this time around, still doing the circular motions, and we're actually still using the same color we were using before. We didn't change the color. We're just changing the pressure a little bit. And I think all of it needs to be this dark, or even darker. We might need to add a very light brown to this too, to get it really dark. Okay, adding another layer. I didn't fill it all in. We're adding another layer, a little bit more pressure. Still doing circular motions and trying to use the side of the pencil to try to prevent the sketchy texture that you get from drawing with pencils, from using pencils. We want to create the illusion of a nice, smooth, consistent texture. And then we're just lightening up the pressure as we get closer and closer to the center. And then we don't have to go over the whole thing, just little bits. I think I might go in with like a very soft brown, especially right in here. And we're just slowly getting lighter and lighter pressure as we go upwards. Does that look dark enough? I'm going to take a quick peek by moving my phone out of the way so I can kind of see it on the screen here. I don't know. I think that's really close. I think that's very, very close. So I think we'll just stick with that. Maybe add a little bit of yellow from the center going outwards. Let's move on to the next section. Now let's work on the other side. So we're gonna start off with this one. I think I might turn off the strobe for a minute and change the opacity so I could just barely see my pencil, so that way we can kind of work around the hand. So let's just trace around the hand. Just doing some very soft circular motions to trace out that hand. There's no super defined line between the background and the hand, so it doesn't have to be super neat. It could be a little messy. And now that we kind of already did that, we can start building up that skin tone with circular motions and super light pressure, kind of using the side of the pencil more than the tip. This helps kind of create a very smooth finish when you're done. So we're just trying to keep it a nice consistent pressure all the way through this. And make sure we really try to fill in those gaps. Try not to have any white showing as best as you can. The texture of the paper might make it a little bit more difficult. So when you're choosing paper, try to make it so it's nice and smooth, a nice smooth finish to it, especially when you're doing pencil work. I was just erasing some graphite from earlier. So it's very light. You can barely even tell it's there. And I'm very much aware of that fact. Okay, now we're going to go over it again. With a little bit more pressure this time on the bottom part. And again, we don't know where the dog ends and the background begins, so it can be pretty messy around those areas. And same with the fingers. We don't know where the fingers end and where the background begins. So the color around it doesn't need to be super defined. Doesn't need to have a very obvious line between the two. So we're doing a little bit more pressure, still fairly light. So we're getting a lighter pressure as we get closer to the top here. Okay, I'm going to do another layer of the same color with harder pressure. Harder pressure on the bottom part of this. And then slowly get lighter as I work my way up. Yeah, I know, Jenya. I'm almost done. I'm almost done, honey, okay? Are you hungry? Your nose? Jenya, I can't let you in right now because I don't want you on the camera. That's why Uncle Richard's around. Okay, now I'm going to go in with that brown. Still light pressure and circular motions, trying to use the side of the pencil so we don't get like the really scratchy pencil marks. We want it to be nice and smooth. we're slowly getting it lighter as we're moving upwards. I'm not going to go all the way up with this. I'm going to use a different method for blending the background, but first I want to add a little bit more to all of it, get it a little bit darker still. I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see it as a whole, flashing back and forth between the two. Okay, so I'm going to add quite a bit of pressure at this point. Circular motions nice and tight, trying to use the side of the pencil more. I just really want to get it so that it really makes that dog pop out. Don't think it's quite dark enough for that to happen. Stickers?
Yeah.
You got some stickers?
Oh no, stickers is.
Are they in my art room?
Yeah, you have them.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to wait, okay? We have 10 more minutes. So I'm slowly getting lighter as I get up, but I still want it quite a bit darker than what I had it, so yeah, because I really want that dog. I really want the dog to just stand out from the background. And then I'm going to try something different for blending once I'm done this. This is almost ready for the blending. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good. Let's take a look at it without the camera and the phone in the way. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so now, yeah, Jenya, I know you want to come in. I know. So I got some liquid hand sanitizer, so that is rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna get a Q-tip wet with the rubbing alcohol, and then I'm going to just blend it out very softly. I'm not pushing any pressure on it, and I'm doing some circular motions, and you can kind of see that getting darker still, right? It will dry up to be a little lighter, but you can tell that it is softening up that color. And then kind of going across, following the line between the dog and the background to have like a nice soft transition. What?
Mine.
You're what? I don't know what you're saying, honey. just lightly going in circular motions for this. And this is rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer. This one's a liquid form. It's supposed to be a spray. And I'm just rubbing it all around the background. And again, it will look darker at first. It will dry a little bit. You don't want to put too much rubbing alcohol on it because it can warp the paper. Having the paper taped down kind of helps prevent that, but it's not a perfect system for that. So just make sure you don't put too much on. So when you dip it in, kind of just squeeze it out, like wring it out like a rag. By pressing it up against the outside. And then just doing some circular motions. That's because I don't have my phone plugged in. Because I forgot to plug it in while I'm just drawing and not filming. Now that we made it to the center, I'm going to work on the other side. Well, no, I think I'll just keep going that direction. I'm going to go across the outer edge of the dog. Just circular motions and very light pressure. Again, try not to put too much of the rubbing alcohol on. You just need to kind of press out the extra liquid by pressing it up against the container that you have the rubbing alcohol on in. There's going to be some other solutions out there that will do a better job than this, but this is a very cheap thing to do. So the materials are not expensive at all, and there are plenty of places that sell it. So get it at the dollar store. Now I try to get like the water, like liquid sanitizer. Try to stay away from like the very jelly-like hand sanitizer, although it'll still work. It's just a little bit kind of a pain to work with. You want to ask Richard to do something for you?
What?
Hi. Trying to get a hold of Richard?
Yeah.
Okay. Just give me a second. Mom's on the phone. I'll wrap things up with my live here right away.
Now she can hear you. Hello?
I'm almost done. So close. And I want to try to get this done before I say goodbye, because I won't have any time to draw on this, draw this anymore, and I don't want to try to remember where I left off. Okay, so the next time I go live, I'll either be starting the hand or just finishing it up, because I don't know when I'll have time to sit down and do this again today. We'll see. But yeah, that's how you blend with rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer. And it will dry a little bit lighter than what you see. But there we go. I'm going to have to say goodbye because my babysitter is leaving. I hope to see you guys again in a future video. I'm planning on going live again tomorrow around the same time, like 10 to 12 Mountain Time. So thank you so much for joining.